Hello, I'm Sedat Sezer. Tuesday, March 31st, last working day of this quarter. Three stories are running on parallel tracks today, and they all connect to the same question. What does a sourcing professional actually do when every pressure point moves at once? Let's start in the Strait of Hormuz. COSCO vessels have made transit for the first time since the Iran conflict escalated, which is a signal but not a resolution. Air cargo rates are up to around 10%. Ocean freight is under fresh pressure. Brent crude is sitting between $105 and $109. And there are reports of Iran demanding a $2 million passage toll on commercial vessels, which, if that holds, becomes a permanent cost embedded in every inbound shipment from the Gulf and beyond. The Baltic Dry Index is at 2.017. The number alone tells you the market hasn't absorbed the shock yet. For Turkish exporters, the exposure is direct. Most textile and apparel shipments move by sea, and these costs land on the invoice. The geographic advantage Turkey has as a near-Europe producer gets partially eroded every time fuel and freight go up simultaneously, which connects directly to Washington. The USTR has launched a new Section 301 investigation, and the projections coming out of fiber to fashion are striking. US apparel tariffs could reach 49% by July, affecting 97% of all US imports. Beijing has already responded with retaliatory investigation of its own. We are back in a full trade war circle. Now here's where I want you to think carefully. The reflex reaction is Turkey wins from China decoupling. And there is something to that. When buyers need to move production out of China, nearshore options like Turkey and North Africa become more attractive. The World Economic Forum said as much this week, flagging Turkey as a key player in the supply chain restructuring triggered by Middle East instability. That's a legitimate positioning argument. But positioning doesn't fill factory floors. The Müsiat Bursa chairman said it plainly this week. Orders are contracting and financing pressure is squeezing manufacturers. UTIP's president flagged deepening competitive pressure from Asia low-cost product. The expensive country perception among global buyers isn't new, but it's becoming structural, and that's a different problem from a currency cycle. You can't fix perception with a rate of cut. Same pattern, different front. Yeşim Tekstil closed 2025 at $510 million in revenue and announced its accelerating growth through Egypt. That's a Turkish integrated manufacturer hedging its own cost base by diversifying production geographically. Egypt gives them competitive unit price and EU origin benefits. Watch that model. It tells you where the smart money in Turkish textile is going. And the EU demand picture matters enormously here. European economic sentiment weakened further in March. Energy shocks, inflation, geographical drag. The EU accounts for over 60% of Turkish textile and apparel export. If European consumer confidence continues to soften, the tariff opportunity on the US side has to work harder to compensate. That's not impossible, but it requires a deliberate pivot, not a passive wait. Here's what I ask any sourcing director sitting with this today. If the tariff wall goes up in July, your Chinese vendor base needs a 6 to 8 week lead time on alternatives. That clock is already running. Turkey's capacity constraint is real, but it's not uniform. The manufacturers who have invested in sustainability documentation, speed infrastructure, and digital product passport readiness will get the calls. The ones who haven't will watch the orders go to Morocco, Egypt, or Bangladesh instead. Have a good day. I'll see you tomorrow.